Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Grim Dawn. For the third time, we find ourselves nearby Tyrant's Hold, and this time we are truly going inside. We have no more excuses, no more other things, no more side quests. This is gonna be it. And we are being greeted by Ravadar, the level 66 gatekeeper. We're only level 59, so he's 7 levels above us. But despite that, he's not really good at damaging us, and his life is also willing away rather nicely. With our second legendary item being equipped, the gloves, having an aggressive blocked ability, and no Devil's Cage Halberd also having aggressive ability, we are starting to stack some of the offensive abilities. We have a number of items now that boost our damage output, and as a result, in direct one-on-one combat we are a lot more effective than we were before. I think we managed to increase our damage output by about 50%, maybe even more in just the last couple of episodes. But that does make some of the fights that used to be a bit long and tedious, it makes them a little less long and therefore a little less tedious. And of course, I suspect that's only gonna get better with more progress. In one-on group fights, or just in group fights, because we are always with one, our retaliation is still king. Reflection works rather well as well for, at least for the more aggressive range mobs. The range mobs that are not very aggressive. Of course, there's not a lot of damage to retaliate with. And it makes sense that it takes longer to kill them. But the same old strategy still applies. We kill the healers, then we go for the meleers. And with a bit of for the toughest meleer we can find, and with a bit of luck, once the toughest meleer is down, everything else will have simply melted in the process. We get 2 of these Dragul Tyrants. The interesting bit of them being 7 levels above us, also they're being healed. Yes, you were hiding here. I see you. Didn't see you before, but I see you now. They hurt like a truck, therefore the damage does retaliate quite a bit. And they have a boatload of health. And also if you check these Dragul Tyrants, we only have a 75% chance to hit them, while they have a nearly 90% to hit us. Against regular mobs of our own level, so mobs that are not 7 levels above us, we actually have a decent chance to hit. It depends a bit on the enemy type. But see, these are 5 levels above us. This is a challenge area after all. But outside, against mobs that are our own level, I was seeing 93% chance to hit. And if you go over 90% chance to hit, you actually gain a chance to crit. So if you have a 93% chance to hit, that means 3% chance to crit. Oh, frozen boss, 7 levels above us. It's important that there are no witch doctors nearby, because otherwise this is going to be tedious. It's difficult to see, so let's hope there are no witch doctors here. So far, so good. And there he is. Yes, he's gone. Nope. So this is a delayed trap. You can walk over it for a bit, but always make sure to go off of it, otherwise it does damage to you. Doesn't trigger for mobs as far as I can tell. So doesn't seem to hurt them. And there is another witch doctor. Goodbye. Looks like for the first bit here we're doing a bit of a full clear. In the end we just have to walk all the way around here. So let's see if we can get onwards. Oh, something shiny over there. And we get a green drop. Ritual Wand of the Arcane Blaze. Well, I don't think that's going to be very useful for us. There is a crafter here.
I can't do that yet.
Not quite sure if I actually noticed in our first playthrough. But there are a couple of these blacksmiths just hidden in some of the more far out areas. They tend to offer you some things or give you some special options that you normally don't have. Also, the big guy is being healed by the witch doctor here. Dang it. Just infinite damage soaking otherwise. Okay, now it goes better. Big guys, they will melt once you take away their healer backup. They're not so tough after all. Let's have a look. What do you offer? Okay, this is a proper crafter. He actually gives you the option to craft legendary items. That is pretty wicked. So the price is pretty steep though. 8 tainted brain matters or ancient hearts or blood of Cthulhu. I think blood of Cthulhu is probably one of the most common craftables. That's pretty cool. This just looks like our regular unlocked things. So in between episodes, of course, I do make the rounds past all the blueprint vendors, the faction vendors, to see what I can still unlock. Got access to the runestones, for example, which allowed us to craft these decorated pauldrons. I actually crafted one of these. Now you need some ancient armor plates, you need a runestone, you need a wardstone, you need 45,000 iron bits in order to craft this epic heavy armor. Oh, I tried it. We're still using the green one because, well, the roll was okay. The random stats didn't roll with health regen, and this single item grants us about a quarter of our health regen. From the current 280 health regen, we dropped down to 230 by just unequipping this one. So I figured that was just a bit too much. Let's see, is there anything else? I don't think these are additional ones. I think this is just our standard set. So I think this specific guy, the legendary items are what truly discerns him. So this is very nice. If you're drowning in those very rare crafting materials, no, effectively gambling for a random legendary item is a really neat thing. Okay. There's someone in the corner. Now I'm wondering if this guy, Atram Fold, if he's also here on normal or veteran mode, or if this is something that only appears once you make it to elite. Because of course, on normal, you're around level 30 when you go here. And legendaries don't make sense until level 50. They don't start dropping until level 50. But it's very likely that you won't see him until you reach elite. So that is nice actually, that the second playthrough
I can't do that yet.
Has some things that you don't have on the earlier difficulty. And then we just make some more progress. We skipped over a chest over there. It's a bit of a convoluted thing, but we did pass by here. And it's just some small items. Also there's a room there that we can't directly access from here. So that's probably going to be from the other side. So those were a bunch of Grobels. Not really doing a lot anymore. Also, Witch Doctor, we disable you before we try to tackle some of these larger dudes. Because otherwise it takes an eternity. And there's a Geomonster, Witch Doctor even. Just hiding behind the big guys. Smart, no, using them as meat shields. Can't blame him for that. But it's still less convenient for us. Let's go with that phrasing. It's less convenient. Okay. As far as I can tell, we don't have any Witch Doctors just yet. Just keep an eye out for it here, because, yeah, there was a Witch Doctor there. We got a Bindings of Bismiel for our efforts. It's always nice to get some of these rare components, because they tend to be pretty expensive to craft, so finding them is just better. So why would there be a thing leading here? Anything special in here? As far as I can tell, there is not actually anything special there. Okay, the outside path. I think the way to here was from the other side. There's a crumbling wall. There's a little bit of just hinting at it here. And a large one-shot chest. That's good. Actually rewarding us a little bit for taking the scenic route and picking up extra items. And there was a door here that I overlooked. Nice, can use you as a run anchor. That's still one of the things I really enjoy. Now, using Blitz as just a way to quickly advance through. You can only target enemies with it. You can't just target the ground. So as a result, you always just need to keep an eye out for barrels that you can charge into or enemies that you can charge into in order to just advance faster through the level. Especially with a build like this, we prefer to be surrounded by lots of enemies. So simply picking one of the enemies that's further into the pack and just charging into it and then following up with the war cry to just draw everybody back to you. It works as a strategy. And of course, I forget some loot here, which, yeah, it's sloppy. Never forget loot. Never know if a legendary could be hiding in the box. And it's always the box that you don't open. So the dynamite is accessed from the other side, so yeah, we'll need to go back here. Also there is a one-shot chest next to it, an ornate one. So lots of reasons to go through. And the question is there maybe something hidden in the other wall as well? I don't think so. But oftentimes walls like these do have secret entrances. Venom Fang oil. I always tend to sell stuff like this, but for 30 seconds we have a chance of doing poison damage, so we might as well just add it. And then in the boss fight we'll just start doing some extra poison damage. Take him down a bit faster. I'm not personally not a large fan of those temporary combat buffs. I don't think I use them in any game. Just because I tend to be very words. Let's try that again. I tend to be very habitual in combat rotations and things like that, and using very limited flasks or buffs. No, I don't have the chance to build up a habit of using it, or just no mental triggers for certain conditions when I want to use certain things. And as a result, I never get it into my system, and as such, they keep stacking. Also, there is the false belief of, well, if I use it now, I can't use it in the future, which is accurate. But the problem there is that you will always keep reapplying the same logic, and as a result, you end up never using it. So, in most games where you have temporary buffs like that, I just end up finishing the game, or if I finish the game, I end up finishing the game with just boatloads of those one-shot potions in my inventory. And, well, Grim Dawn is effectively no different in that regard, though. You can sell them for a little bit of money, which is what I often end up doing. Let's see. We truly got everything, including most of the secret areas. So now it's time to look for trouble with the boss. And have to remember, drink our flask once we engage the boss. Also, assassinate all the witch doctors. Ruthless, level 65. He's 6 levels above us. But there's another witch doctor there. I will just pick up some loot here. Do we really have all the witch doctors? I think we might have. Yeah, okay. So, Venom Fang oil. Yeah, we're doing poison damage now. Look at us poisoning him. It's not really noticeable. Damage output 4200. In our mostly buffed up states, I think we may have gained about 100 poison DPS. At least we used the potion, so let's count it as a small victory. Boss like this, oh, he can't be knocked down, so here you can use just all the interrupts and side effects that can knock back, because you're not going to interrupt his damage output. For a build that is less tanky than this, of course, you consider that to be a downside, because if you don't have access to crowd control, how can you try and keep the boss away from you? But in our case, of course, all the rules seem inversed, and crowd control is not actually something that we desire. And we got the Witching Hour, as well as an Ancient Heart, I think. The Witching Hour, +2 to all skills in Occultist. It's also physical damage converted to Chaos, plus 173% Chaos damage. Very strong bonus to pet damage, health, regen, speed, and it grants the Witching Hour. The Witching Hour is upon us, empowering your minions and your occult spell work. It recharges in 36 seconds, it lasts for 15, so it's about 45% uptime. It adds a boatload of chaos damage as well as 300% chaos damage. That stacks with the 173, of course. So if you have the Witching Hour active, that's nearly 500% increased chaos damage. And if you combine that with all the other increased chaos damage that you can already get from the Occultist, and this is a terrifying weapon. You don't even need to shoot with it. You just need to have it equipped, and then start casting Doom Bolts. Use the Sigil of Consumption that we have a useless +3 bonus to. The upgrade for Sigil of Consumption also makes it do fire and chaos damage. So things like that, if you combine all of that, you start doing a lot more damage all around. I like this weapon. So I've been talking about I want to do a two-handed gun-based demolitionist, and another part of me really wants to do a occultist build. I think the witching hour might actually be a solution to just do both at the same time. Of course, there is the tiny detail of having to first make it to level 65 before we can use it, but then we will have a weapon waiting for us once we more or less just finish Elite. Okay, we killed everything, so this is where we go. Another dynamite, a heroic chest and an exalted chest. And we get another blue armor. The obsidian plated cuirass. +2 to blast shield and +1 to deadly momentum. This is tailor-made for a commando like us. A boatload of chaos resistance, boatload of fire resistance, though not as much as our Devil's Cage Halberd, of course, and a bonus to fire and physical damage. This is not a bad armor. If we didn't have our current legendary, this would have been a no-brainer to switch to, especially 31% chaos resistance. That is very juicy. So let's head back to the camp in the Pine Barrens and increase our status with the Black Legion. It wasn't easy, but Bloodfeast is dead. Well, actually, it was rather easy, was it? And we get another Ancient Heart. Very nice. So that increases our Ancient Heart count to 4. So we still can't craft a random legendary with this. But no, slowly we are getting better. But definitely useful to keep in mind if you are drowning in those materials. Oh, the Tyrant's Hold. It's very easy. It's a very easy walk. You just from the camp here, just go up and down, and basically just stick to the left-hand wall. Go through here, and then go through there. Then there's rocks in here and there's rocks in there, but in the bottom it's open, so you can just go through here, stick to the bottom, go up the ramp, go in, and clear the place. And I think somewhere early on in the bottom we found the crafter ghost. So in 5 to 10 minutes you can actually get there and craft yourself a legendary. So that is pretty cool and it's pretty accessible. And that means we have completed our side arc of going to the Tyrant's Hold. Next up, of course, we're gonna go back to Homestead. We have to speak with Olgrim. He, of course, wants to express his eternal gratitude for saving him out of Deadman's Gulch. And he probably has some more missions for us.
I wasn't sure you'd make it, but you pulled through. Those people owe you their lives.
I just did what was right.
I wish that was the end of our troubles, but there is a mounting threat on the horizon that threatens to wipe us all out.
Oh no, what shall we do?
I'm going to check in with Creed here, but I suggest you speak to Captain Sommer. She's the Black Legion officer in charge of this sorry bunch. Look for the grumpy middle-aged hag in Black Legion armor. She will fill you in on the situation.
Got a suspicion he is not really impressed with her, but I'll have a chat.
I'll skip the pleasantries. Olgrim tells me you're one tough slith, and right now that's what I need most. Will you fight for the Black Legion?
I like her. She's just to the point and just really tells it as it is. So, we, where do you need me?
The Legion is split on 2 fronts. To the north, we have the Cult of Cthulhu. Nasty bastards keen on turning all of us into a puddle of blood for their rituals. I have my best men out there right now scouting ahead. The cultists are amassing in great numbers, and I'd like to know why. There is a more pressing issue, however, and this is where you come in. Olgrim says that you are experienced with fighting the ethereals. That's good. You'll need all your skills for this one. Far to the west, beyond the infested farms and the rotting croplands, there is an area teeming with ethereals that we have started calling the Gruesome Harvest. It is a fitting title as the ethereals have been gathering corpses, animal and human alike, in order to conduct their sick resurrection techniques upon them. The barn there has been giving off a blinding aether light non-stop for the last few days and nights. That is, until today. Whatever they are working on, it must be nearly finished. And knowing the ethereals, it's something monstrous. We can't risk the ethereals discovering that we know about their creation. I need someone to sneak in there and destroy this abomination before it even has a chance to wreak havoc upon my people. We'll only get one shot at this, so I want someone who has experience dealing with ethereal horrors to handle this mission. Will you be my champion?
So much prejudice against the ethereals, no? Just instantly jumping to the conclusion that it has to be something monstrous. It could just be a really nice fluffy squirrel. You don't know. But okay, sure, I'll track him down. So next episode we're gonna go squirrel hunting or abomination hunting, depending on if she's right or I'm right. So interesting. Get a random unlock for a bit of the map. It does that sometimes, especially in the Homestead area, where you just get a random diamond of the map that's just revealed to you without actually having been there. But we're gonna go to the west, into the farmland, deal with the Demapter Queen on the way. After that, it's gonna be the ethereal amalgamation. So that's gonna be 2-3 episodes, depending a bit on how fast we can progress. After that, of course, we have the conflagration, which is also a very dangerous and interesting location to go through. And after that, we push north towards Sorrow's Bastion. So Homestead is always that tipping point where you suddenly realize, like, wait, we're actually getting pretty darn close to the end game. Though I think technically this is probably supposed to be the halfway point. Or I think that means goals. That's about the halfway point. That's the split between Act 2 and Act 3. Of course, already having done the Tyrant's Hold area. And then considering this to be a relatively compact area, even though there's quite some content in here. It always feels closer to the end than it is, but we're slowly getting there. Very excited, because once we finish our work in here, we are on our way to Ultimate. But before that, let's not jump ahead. Let's first clean up some bugs and some ethereals, and then move on with the cultist. For now, I'm gonna thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.